Piracy. Since there's been reproducible media, it's existed. The famous caveman Groog was charging people 2 bones to look at his cave painting, while the lesser-known caveman Moog copied it and was charging 1. The Bible has been pirated more times throughout history than I can count. Every movie distributor in the early 20th century published pirated films about people running around really fast and playing with hoses in black and white. Stuff that changed the game for real. Since the computer age, piracy has only grown more rampant, but when it comes to video game piracy, one name in particular looms larger than the rest: Nintendo. Since their earliest days, Nintendo has been hypersensitive about piracy. The NES, their first home console in the US, came with built-in anti-piracy hardware, the CIC lockout chip, designed to prevent unlicensed developers from publishing games. And, as always, piracy finds a way. Tengen, Atari's US branch, managed to obtain the code needed to disable the chip, bypassing it entirely and producing their own NES games. Naturally, Nintendo responded the way they always do, by slapping them with a massive copyright infringement lawsuit. Nintendo's war on piracy only ramped up during the Super Nintendo era. They sent out these crime doesn't play pamphlets, threatening massive fines and legal action against anyone caught pirating their games. After all, when it comes to video piracy, they're not playing games. But beyond just threatening legal action, Nintendo also implemented anti-piracy screens that outright blocked people from playing games detected as pirated. A couple of years ago, during the height of the analog horror trend, people started turning these screens into creepypastas, exaggerating them into bizarre nightmare fuel. But in my twisted mind, it's just normal. However, as always, reality is scarier than fiction. Just take a look at EarthBound. At first, the game runs normal checks to verify the cartridge's legitimacy that can result in these pretty normal error screens. But if it detects that you're using a pirated copy, things start getting interesting. First, it begins spawning absurd numbers of enemies in places they're not supposed to be, to the point where the game can literally crash. If you somehow endure this nightmare and make it all the way to the final boss, right before the fight, as Porky delivers one of his final lines, the game freezes. And when you restart, all your save data is gone. Hours and hours of progress deleted. Pure evil. Nintendo's paranoia over piracy didn't stop there. They actually published an anti-piracy newsletter that documented busts of illegal game copies and the materials used to make them. And these things read like full-on Crime Watch reports. The way Nintendo described these raids, you'd think they were taking down a kingpin. They meticulously detailed where the pirated materials were seized, how many were confiscated, and how justice was served. It's clear that Nintendo wanted to strike fear into the hearts of would-be pirates, and to let the world know that they were watching, even long after their dominance in the video game industry had faded. These newsletters seem to have run for a while, as seen in these issues labeled Volume 080 and Volume 12. 080 could either be 80 or 8. These zeros are confusing me. Hey, you know what? Like the video if you think it's 80, comment if you think it's 8, and subscribe if you're still waiting to hear back from your Danimal sweepstakes entry. Unfortunately, no other copies have surfaced, meaning we may never know just how deep Nintendo's war on piracy really went. It's too bad. I was really hoping for Nintendo's most wanted list. Moving ahead to the Wii and DS era, piracy seemed to have reached an all-time high.
Do what you want, 'cause a pirate is free. You are a pirate. You're our favorite indeed.
Maybe it was the sheer popularity of the consoles, or maybe it was the fact that you could load games onto an SD card with zero effort. Whatever the reason, Nintendo felt the need to educate their trusted retail partners on the horrors of video game piracy. Their solution? The Anti-Piracy Program Guide. This 85-page binder, published annually, was essentially a sequel to the Anti-Piracy newsletter, except now it was an entire book dedicated to teaching store employees how to identify and stop piracy. And wow, these photos are amazing. The whole thing looks like a drug bust. We're talking confiscated games lined up like evidence, seized mod chips looking like they belong in an FBI sting operation. It's insane. And weirdly enough, The character renders in this guide are absolute garbage. They're stretched, pixelated, and they look pirated. This makes me think that it was handled entirely by Nintendo's legal team rather than anyone from their actual marketing department. Because let's be real, when Nintendo wants something to look good, it looks good. Nintendo continued revising the guide for several years, with later editions, like the 2010 version, expanding on Wii mod chips and fake accessories. One particularly strange section focused on authentic chargers for the Nintendo DS. Now I get that Nintendo was losing money from third-party accessories, but how is that even illegal? There are thousands of companies making iPhone chargers, and nobody's getting sued over it. It's bizarre. But anyways, after this point, publicly available information on Nintendo's piracy efforts dries up. Of course, Nintendo's fight against piracy hasn't stopped. In recent years, they've been locking up modders, issuing massive fines, and generally making life miserable for anyone who dares mess with their IP. But we don't have access to any juicy internal memos or Crime Watch reports documenting their latest efforts. Deep within Nintendo HQ, the anti-piracy task force is alive and well, quietly gathering evidence and preparing to strike at the next great piracy operation. Their mission never truly ended, just evolved. Either way, one thing's for sure, Nintendo is watching. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below your favorite pirate. If you or a loved one has ever found someone pirating a Nintendo game, don't forget to report them to www.nintendo.com/I've never had a friend. Thank you.